We have more on the bribery scheme. We have a horrific update on the Proud Boys trial, what it means for Donald Trump. We have foreign policy talk. We have, well, fun with cheese balls. All that's coming up tonight on I'm Right. I don't have an important job. I do TV and radio for a living, so it's not important. Your job's more important than what I do. But you know one of the most important things when you do TV and radio? Showing up. They've told me, my employers tell me right here at the first, they tell me all the time, Jesse, it's important for you to show up and actually do the show. So if it's important for me to show up and do a television show for you every single Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, think how important it is for the President of the United States to, be there, be available, be leading, be answering questions as the supposed servant of the people he is. But Joe Biden is gone. He's MIA. He's had 2 total events, a lunch and a dinner. He's nowhere to be found. No one can ask him questions. No one knows what he's doing. Even the New York Times, of all places, the absolute communist rag, New York Times, the New York Times is asking, where's the president?
By the time the president appears at a dinner tonight, it will have been about 48 hours since he's had a public appearance. So what has he been doing in that time?
He's been meeting with, having internal meetings in the Oval Office.
And that brings us to the why and the where. Why is Joe Biden gone? Where's Joe Biden been? Joe Biden's gone because Hunter Biden is in very serious legal trouble. And now we know from this whistleblower, or I should say we think we know from this whistleblower, that there is hard evidence out there that Joe Biden is a criminal, just like Hunter Biden. And the Biden administration, they have an SOP, if you will, standard operating procedure for you non-military types. Do you remember Afghanistan? Do you remember when we yanked out of Afghanistan and then Afghanistan began to collapse almost right away? And this is a part of it that most people don't remember. They remember the explosions and the drones and the tragedy and everything else, but they forget this part. As the country was collapsing and it was this international scandal and we looked horrible. We looked horrible because the Taliban were just storming through the place and taking it over. Do you remember that Antony Blinken, Jen Psaki, she was the press secretary then, and Joe Biden, all 3 of them went on vacation. You remember that? They had to be shamed to come back from vacation to speak about the international scandal they just caused. The Biden administration, when they smell trouble in the air, they go to ground. They hide. Joe Biden thinks he's in trouble. He thinks he's in bad trouble. And I've been telling you that Joe Biden is in trouble. I've been telling you over and over and over again, this. What you're going to see is leverage. It's what you're about to see. Joe Biden is about to be pushed out of the White House. He announced his intention to run again in order to get something out of the deal. The system is going to come to Joe Biden and they're going to tap him on the shoulder and they're going to say, Joe, we need you to go. Can't run. And Joe's going to say, well, I already announced I'm going to run. And the system's going to say, Joe, this Hunter Biden stuff, it all leads back to you. So they're going to tell Joe, you want this Hunter Biden stuff to go away. We'll give him a slap on the wrist, brush it aside. If you step aside, Joe Biden's going to do it. Now, do you know how many people it takes to run for president, to have on your staff, if you will, various managers and things like that? It's more people than you can possibly imagine. Possibly imagine. Joe Biden announced he's running for re-election. Re-election isn't that far away. Gosh, the clock is ticking. You know how many campaign staffers are on Joe Biden's staff for the re-election he's running? 2. Oh, I'm going to be obnoxious if I turn out to be right about that. You know who's not obnoxious? Joining me now, Lauren Boebert, great congresswoman from the state of Colorado, also reigning champion, hottest women of Congress. But we're setting all that aside for today because we have a couple important things to discuss. 1 is Joe Biden. 2 is U2. Lauren, I was thinking about the band U2 this morning. They have one good song. I don't understand all the hype for this band at all. I've never understood it.
So I don't know if I know what the good song is, Jesse.
I was thinking about this too. I haven't found what I'm looking for thing, but I'm not going to sing it for you here because we're on national television and that would be embarrassing. Let's move on to something somehow worse than you too, bribery. It's not exactly news that Joe Biden is crooked as the day is long. Everyone knows it. We might have a document proving it now. Do I have that right?
I think so. So Chairman Jamie Comer actually came out saying that there looks like there's credible evidence of bribery. And, Merrick Garland, Joe Biden's wingman, had the audacity to lie to the American people in front of Congress and then yet lie again in front of Congress, saying that he stands by his testimony that there would be no political interference in the Hunter Biden case. Now, Jesse, let's have a little criminal justice history here. The punishment for lying to Congress is perjury. I'm glad that we have restored strong leadership back in the House of Representatives because the American people deserve to know if President Biden sold out the United States of America to make money for himself and his crackhead, gun criminal, prostitute-loving, stripper-loving son. But we need to make sure that we have all of our documents here, that we are bringing him in. And that right there is criminal by itself. It's treason. We need to and must get to the bottom of this and hold these guys accountable. What we don't know as of this moment, though, is if the FBI has done anything to verify or investigate these credible claims. Right now, it looks like they turn their heads and look the other way, as they typically do. But let's be honest with ourselves. The FBI, their current history of botching politically charged investigations goes to show how important it is for congressional oversight in this moment. These folks cannot be trusted. The FBI Director Wray, Attorney General Garland, and Secretary Blinken, they better be prepared. They better clear their calendars because and alongside Chairman Comer, we'll find out the truth for the American people. And as I mentioned, Chairman Comer issued a subpoena to the FBI Director Wray. And let me just reiterate, we will get to the bottom of this, and it's only a matter of time.
I love it. I love it. All right, Congresswoman, how do we handle impeachments? Because obviously every Tom, Dick, and Harry, myself included, I want to impeach all of them, right? Mayorkas and Garland and Joe Biden, just impeach everyone because they're all a bunch of crooks. And they are a bunch of crooks, and they all do deserve impeachment, but that's not realistic. I want to live in the real world. What will we see? What might we see, I guess I should say, as far as people who are going to be impeached?
Right. Well, as far as impeachment goes, there's some articles of impeachment that would never even make it out of the Republican majority-led Judiciary Committee, which is very unfortunate. So we have to be able to have these hearings and investigations to bring truth to the American people. There are so many people who want to get rid of the truth and abolish the truth, and we have to expose all of their lies. So that is involved in these investigations and hearings, and then. Unfortunately, it may just be up to the American people to impeach these folks through a new administration in 2024. But we are going to lay all the facts out there so people can be informed when they do go to vote. I hope that we do see articles of impeachment. I've introduced them for Joe Biden, for Secretary Mayorkas. There's been articles of impeachment introduced for Blinken and so much more. But we actually have to get them out of the Judiciary Committee for those to go anywhere. I would love to at least have the hearings in the committee to form that basis of why this is reasonable and acceptable and show the demand of the American people. Because, Jesse, it's everywhere that I go. People are saying, why are they still in office? Why do we have these cabinet members who are clearly so corrupt? And it's extremely frustrating for me when we have folks who have lied, like Antony Blinken, to Congress. And now they're part of the administration, and they're continuing to cover up what had happened with the Biden crime family, rather than doing their job for the American people. I mean, Jesse, you know it. The FBI, there's so much corruption there. There's corruption in the Department of Injustice at this time, and just about every other cabinet that we could name. And it's up to us to just reveal everything that's going on, and hopefully the voters make an informed decision when it comes time to do that, so we can get a change of leadership.
I hope they do. Speaking of voters, the Democrats hate your guts, as I knew they absolutely would, and they're coming after you. If people would like you to remain in Congress, I don't know whether you're allowed to promote that right now because I don't know where you are, but are people,
Yeah, Jesse,
can they
I'm at
support your
Mom's house,
campaign?
so I could say whatever I want here.
Okay. Please, how do people support you?
Well, Jesse, you did tell me that the Democrats were going to hate my guts. We had this conversation before I was sworn in Congress, and you said they're coming for you. And we know that because I was there to speak truth to power and make sure that all of their corruption was exposed and hold them accountable. So I need as many people as possible to come and join me at laurenforfreedom.com. My last election was very tough. I won by 546 votes after a recount. I was the last Republicans race to officially be called. And the Democrats smell blood in the water. I am the #1 target on the DCCC's list. They hate strong, powerful women who speak truth and do so joyfully. And so they'll do anything they can to cancel me, to silence me, and certainly kick me out of office. They are trying to buy this seat in Congress. And we have to make sure that we have the funding to combat that, and an army of people who are going to come to my defense on social media and in the district, and certainly, like I said, financially. So laurenforfreedom.com.
There you go. Go help her out. She needs it. Lauren, Congresswoman, I appreciate you.
Thanks so much, Jesse.
That's a perfect lead-in to a male vitality stack from Chalk and your testosterone levels. Let's have a conversation about this. Testosterone levels are in freefall. Chalk is out there trying to make sure we men are ready to go. There's a female vitality stack for the ladies, and we need to do this naturally, not with big pharma. We got to stop that. We got to start focusing on natural solutions to problems. CHOQ.com. You can't believe how many natural herbal supplements they have there and the various ways they can help you. I take a male vitality stack. Ladies take a female vitality stack, but that's certainly not all they have. They have a ton, and they have 35% off subscriptions. Chalk.com, promo code Jesse is how you get that 35% off. So go get some. Now, let's deal with something bad and good. We have whistleblowers. That's good. The bad part is they're saying really, really bad things. So we'll get to that next. The whistleblowers. These are the people we need right now. Once your government has become this rotted, this filthy, this corrupt, the only chance we have at fixing it in any way we can is people within it stepping out and being brave. Joining me now, again, we love having him on the show, Kyle Seraphin of the Kyle Seraphin Show now, which I'm thrilled about. Kyle, first of all, let's deal with this. Is the whistleblower thing picking up? It seems like it's picking up, and we're getting more and more of them, and that's a good thing, right?
It does seem like it's picking up, and it is a good thing if we are. It sounds like we're inspiring some folks to come forward and expose what needs to be exposed. Like you said, there's a lot of rot in this government. Sunlight is sort of the best disinfectant to kill off that mold, that grime that's been growing. And it sounds like we're seeing more and more whistleblower headlines, which if I don't know them, that's really good news to me, because that means more people that I don't even know that are not in my circle are doing the right thing. It's good for them.
Good. Well, I'm not going to ask if this person's in your circle. I just don't want to know. I'm better off not knowing. But this new bribery allegation against Joe Biden, what is it? What is an FD-1023? Is that a plane? Explain all this stuff.
Yeah, the federal government is great with doing bureaucratic things, and the FBI is the best at doing bureaucracy in many ways. So some people are familiar with the form. It's the federal form, FD-302, and that's the interview form. We've seen a lot of these in the like the Proud Boys trials. So people are starting to learn FBI forms. And in the same way that a 302 is going to immortalize an interview that you do with a subject or a victim or a witness, the 1023 is used for confidential human sources, so often known as CIs or confidential informants. These are sources that the FBI is going to go out and interview, and they're going to bring the information back to the Bureau, and then it's either going to be analyzed, it's going to be discarded, it's going to be looked at, it's going to generate a whole new investigation. It may mean nothing. It may just be background noise. And so this 1023 that we're seeing, at least being bandied about, is going to be this source reporting. And in theory, some source came to the FBI and someone has said this was a problem because the Bureau hasn't done a good investigation of it, and said that here are the outlines of how the Biden crime family has been operating. They want to know why it wasn't moved forward. And so Chuck Grassley and it sounds like Comer have also, they've brought it to the public's attention. So it's setting us up for this interesting fight, because this is going to be the classic sources and methods, defense that the FBI and all the intelligence community loves to do. And yet this seems like it's in the public's interest to know what the heck is going on if this is our sitting president.
Can the FBI, it's probably a bad way to ask the question, but can the FBI not comply and not bring it forward? I know they have all kinds of different ways to protect themselves, but a United States senator demanding it is quite a thing.
I think it's going to end up in the judiciary. So you've got the executive branch, which is the FBI. You've got the legislative branch, which is going to be the Senate. And then I think the judiciary is going to be kind of calling the balls and strikes on this. And I have no doubt that the Bureau will fight this. That's what they do. When you're an intelligence agency, you try to fight transparency. It's just the nature of the beast. So they're going to do the classic, it's an ongoing investigation claim, I expect. They'll say they're protecting their sources and their methods of gathering information. And all those things, we'll see if it plays out. It's like I said, I tweeted this the other day. I think it's an interesting challenge because there's a significant need for this transparency in the public interest. And so, we're going to have this classic stare off between two different branches of government by probably in the third branch of government.
Does the FBI see itself as subservient? The people within the walls, do they see themselves as working underneath Congress?
I don't think so. That was never the way it was explained. I think a lot of times the FBI, and they have the mistake of sort of looking at themselves and thinking what we do is good because the institution is good, and therefore what the institution asked me to do must be good. More and more people, and I think that's what this influx of whistleblowers must indicate, more and more people are realizing that maybe we're the bad guys here. And maybe this agency, which has done a ton of awful things to people who work for the agency, people are friendly towards guys like me and Stephen Friend. There's plenty of others whose names you don't know that got thrown out for not doing anything wrong. And then they've been badmouthed. It's a long history in the FBI, but more people are becoming aware of it. I think traditionally FBI agents like to put their head in the ground. They try to stay out of the politics of it. They just want to run down after bad guys. But when the bad guys are, pro-life Catholics and people who otherwise just want to be left alone and are trying to do things that are First Amendment protected, you end up in this really weird space where you start going like, oh, I know my oath was not to the FBI. And I think a lot of people are starting to have to answer that question for themselves.
Let's go back to the details of this form really quickly. It's just, I know it's a small thing, but it bears asking. Is it normal to take in a form like this and find out about something like this and have it be ignored or have the ball dropped on it? I don't want to assign, I'm all game to assign malfeasance to the FBI, as everyone knows, including you, but I don't want to do it in every single instance. Is it the norm that you would get one of these and maybe it would be misplaced? Maybe you just wouldn't think to pursue it further. Is that something that would happen?
It's something that could happen, and there could be plenty good reasons for it. We should probably explore like who this whistleblower could be, right? So it could be the person who actually took the document in, who wrote up that report because they would know what's on it. And so it doesn't matter if Chuck Grassley's office has the document or not because you've got the individual who wrote it. So that's a possibility. And they could think that it was squashed. If that's the case, then it's probably very credible. It could be someone who was also in that meeting but didn't write the document, because generally agents show up 2 at a time to do these debriefs with sources. And it could have been the supervisor who approved the document. It could have been an analyst who read it and thought it meant something that it didn't. You never really know when you're dealing with, this is a human intelligence thing. So human beings come with all of the sort of the flaws that all humans have. They have motivations. They've got political motivations. They may have financial motivations because the Bureau pays an awful lot of money in big cases. So, I mean, they pay them in cash and sometimes up to 6 figures, as we've seen with the kind of Christopher Steele thing. So we don't know how credible this allegation is.
All right, first of all, what's the Federal Air Marshal Service for those who don't know, and why are you talking about it?
So the Federal Air Marshal Service is the people that we all think of as the guys who are flying on the plane that are carrying a gun. But what most people don't realize is that even though both of them say U.S. Marshal in their title, there is a U.S. Marshal Service. They primarily do fugitive hunts, and they're part of the DOJ. The Federal Air Marshal Service are flyers that do surveillance and potentially armed interdiction on, whoever wants to take over an aircraft. And they, strangely enough, they work for Homeland Security, but they actually answer to the TSA, which anyone who knows about the TSA and sort of the security theater that we do at airports could realize that if you're a real law enforcement officer, and many of these people are great. I mean, they're awesome shooters. There's a lot of prior service veterans that are in there, and a lot of them are former cops, and they have a really good idea about what they want to do. So these are a good service of people. I think they do a justice to the American people, except like so many other parts of the federal government right now, they've been weaponized. And so what I had was some whistleblowers coming to me, and they've gone to some other shows as well, and they have been saying that the Federal Air Marshal Service are following all Americans that flew into the National Capital Region, Northern Virginia, Maryland, D.C. area between January 4th and January 7th of 2021, which is one, a very, very big dragnet, and two, it is totally impossible to defend doing that. And they said they've been following people that are 6-year-old children, 13-year-old cheerleaders, disabled people, veterans who have lost their legs in armed conflicts overseas and are now on wheelchairs. And they flew in, whether they came to hear Trump's speech at the Ellipse, or whether they were part of the January 6th riot, or whether they were just people who had a business meeting in the DC area. The air marshals are following them all, and they've tagged them all as domestic terrorists, which seems like a catastrophic overreach to me.
We are becoming the Russia we used to mock all the time. I used to mock them my whole life. Oh, what a corrupt bunch of scumbags arresting their political opponents. That's what we are now, isn't it, Kyle?
100%, and maybe even more like China in a lot of ways. Chinese are really good at doing this kind of thing, and we're becoming the surveillance state and sort of the government interdiction that's policing wrong think and all the other Orwellian things that you would laugh at. You would say these are all pointed at the Soviets, they're all pointed at the communists, and we're trying to be that. Our government aspires to it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's scary. Kyle, appreciate you, brother. Come back soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jesse.
All right. We have a verdict in the Proud Boys trial, and it's not good. Julie Kelly, of course, has been all over this, and she's going to join us next to discuss it. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do something that'll make you feel better, all right? You ready to feel better? I want you to give your dog something. Nutrition. Something your dog probably has never had. My dog never had it until I found Rough Greens. I was giving my dog food. What's what you get to give a dog, right? And we went out and bought the good dog food because we wanted our dog to be healthy and live long. And then when you dig into it, you find out dog food is dead. There's nothing in it. They kill everything in it, so there's no nutrition left. It's just empty calories. It's like feeding your dog a double cheeseburger for every meal. It's what we do to our dogs. Get some Rough Greens. It's a nutritional supplement, all natural. Give your dog vitamins, minerals, omega oils, probiotics, the gift of a longer life and a healthier dog. roughgreens.com/Jesse for a free Jumpstart trial bag. How's that sound? All you pay is the shipping. Or you can call them, 833-33-MY-DOG. We'll be back. All right, for Lighten the Mood, we thought we would do something more important than we usually do. You know, we usually just post these videos out there that have somebody falling down and we all laugh, ha ha ha, or it's something precious like a little puppy and a kid or something like that. But today, we thought we wanted to get serious about something. So before we get to that, let's do this really quickly. Let's get serious about the air in your home, in your office. You lay there all night long sleeping. What kind of air are you breathing in? Well, our homes have dirty air. It's the way it goes. There's viruses, mold in the air. Your homes get smells. It goes that way. You don't have to live like that, though. Eden Pure Thunderstorm is here. You know why they call them thunderstorms? Because it does inside of your home to the atmosphere the same thing nature does after a thunderstorm. Like when you walk outside and it smells so good, that's because the air has just been cleaned. How about that for your house, your office? Go to EdenPureDeals.com. They have 3-packs for sale for under $200. EdenPureDeals.com, all right? You have to use code Jesse to get that deal. Now, to get serious here for a brief moment, we, as you know, love cheese balls here in the office. Love them. Proud of my guys. As of yesterday, we have completed yet another tub of it. Wasn't easy. We do the hard work here that's necessary, but we did it. And then somebody sent me a video of what looks like the greatest thing ever. I'm so getting one of those if they sell them. I'm just going to walk around my house just shooting my sons with it. It'll be great. I'll see you tomorrow.